Alright, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I'm going to start right now bringing you a series of lectures or videos for the AWD1112 Application Programming with Java class. And as you can see in here, students will delve deeper into application development as they are introduced to the Java programming language. Students will be able to write programs that demonstrate object-oriented concepts. This course will widen the students' understanding of programming concepts as well as introduce more planning and design concepts. Android Studio will be used in the second half of the course to develop an Android application. Using current software development kits, distributed version control systems, and APIs, students will get a well-rounded, hands-on experience that will translate into the skills they will need to be successful. Well, that's all good, well and good. The book we're using for the class is Starting Out with Objects with Java, or rather, Early Objects, 5th edition by Tony Gaddis. You can see it's not a cheap book, but it is a good book. I've used it before. I've taught from this book before. And if we take a quick look in here, you'll notice that there are a total of 15 chapters. Well, we have 40 days, so there's no way we can go through all of those. I'm going to kind of buzz through, to be honest with you, probably the first 5 chapters in the first couple weeks. And I know that sounds like a lot, and it is. So probably what I'll do is end up going over the first 5 chapters in the first couple weeks, and then giving you a couple weeks of lab to let you exhale. All right? So right now I'm going to write some programs for Chapter 1, compiling and running a Java program. Chapter 2, displaying console output. Chapter 3, writing classes and creating objects. Chapter 4, the if statement, and Chapter 5, the while loop. We're going to spend the least amount of time on Chapters 1, 2, 4, and 5. We'll spend more time on 3 because it's really the first time we'll see classes in any depth and breadth of coverage. Then we'll go on and we'll do Chapter 6, which is returning objects from methods. Chapter 7 with arrays. Chapter 8, I'm not even sure if we're going to go over that or not. Chapter 9 will go over inheritance. Chapter 10 will go over exceptions. Chapter 11 will go over, but quickly, which is on GUIs. So is Chapter 12. And we'll see where we are when we get to that point. We may not go over any of this, to be honest with you. All right, again, I have you for 40 days in this part of the class, and we've got to do what we can do during that time. The first thing that you'll want to do is to go out and download the Eclipse editor. And as you can see in here, it's under https://www.eclipse.org/downloads. Now, I've already got a version of the Eclipse editor running right now. I've got Neon.1. To be honest with you, that came with a machine, all right, when I started here, and I think that's probably what I'll end up using, but I'm not sure if it is or not. It says here, get Eclipse Neon. That doesn't mean it's the newest version. Now, when you bring it up, as you'd probably guess, all of these IDEs, and this is another example of an integrated development environment, but all of these IDEs look at least a little bit different. So you get this welcome screen when you come up. And it says, do you want to review your IDE configuration settings? No. Do you want to create a Hello World application? Well, that might be a good place to start. As it says, it's a guided walkthrough to create the famous Hello World app. Do we want to create a new Java project? Do we want to check out projects from Git? Import existing projects, launch Eclipse Marketplace, open an existing file, overview, tutorial, samples, and what's new. I haven't even walked through this Create a Hello World app, but let's take a look at it. All right. It says, open the Java perspective, create a Java project. Before creating a class, we need a project to put it in. In the main toolbar, and I think I can close both of these, as you can see, I've got a bunch of stuff already written. But it says in the main toolbar, click on the New Project button or click the link below. Well, that link may not always be there. So let's go File, New Project. All right. right, we could have just chosen Java, but it said here Java. We want a Java project. Virtually, I believe, for everything we'll do, this is what we're going to select. So we'll say next, and we're told to give the project a name. Well, they want us to call it Hello World. Do not put blank spaces in these names. All right. And it says there, use a default location. Well, if you notice, mine is putting it right on the desktop. If I don't want to do that, I can come in and change it. So instead of the default location, I can browse. And why don't I do this? I'm going to go into the File Explorer, and I'm going to go to the desktop. And under the desktop, notice I've got a folder that says Java on it already. I'm going to just call this, I'm going to change or rename this Java Old. All right. And it says it can't be completed. Well, I understand why, because I've got another project open in there. I'm going to do a File, New, Folder. We'll just call this Java Programs. All right. And I'm going to put all my programs in there. Okay. So I will go under my desktop. There's Java Programs. I'm going to say OK. You'll notice that's now set that location. And click Next. And it says in here, you're going to have a source file, etc. That is also OK. And click Finish. So it's now come in and created this beginning of a Hello World project for me. All right. So the next thing I want to do is I want to create a class in here. So I want to right mouse click on here, choose New. I've created my project. And really the next thing I should do is to create a package. A package is kind of like a folder in Windows. Now what you should use in here, and why? Because this is basically the way people do it. I can't give you a better reason than that. But you should pretty much use your email address, but in reverse. So my email address is jpscott@rankin.edu. So I'm going to use this edu.rankin.jpscott. Don't worry about that creating package.info. Just click Finish. And as you can see, it made a package. Now in that package, I want to come in here and type in New, Class, and now I've got to give this a name. All right, the name I'm going to give it is Hello World, the same name as the program, which is fine. I want this to be public. And it says, do you want it to create a main for you? And the answer is, for when we start at least, yes. So click Finish. And there's the beginning of our program. So, and I'm a little anal about the way I do these things. So what I'm doing right now, you don't have to do this. But these are just things that I like to do. So here's our package statement. The package statement won't become very big until we're about halfway or more through the class, but it's, for lack of better words, it's a necessary evil. Okay? All right. Then we've got public, which means that it's possible for this class to interact with other Java classes. It's not a private class, it's a public class. Java is object-oriented, so everything that you do in Java is done within the confines of a class. The name of the class is Hello World. The entry point for all Java programs is a main function. The main function is public. There's only one of them, and we show that with the word static. It doesn't return anything, so we've got void as the return type, and it's possible to pass in an array of arguments that are of type string. We won't deal with that much, if at all. You'll notice here, comments, just like we've had in other languages, two forward slashes for a single line comment, slash star, and slash star, ending with star slash for a multi-line comment. There's also a special kind of Java comment with two things here. You notice it turned blue instead of green. It's called the Java doc comment. We won't worry about that for right now. All right, so all I want to say here is system.out.println hello world. And I need the ending, my ending double quote there. Whoops. That's my first program. Doesn't do much except to print hello world on the screen. And when I say on the screen, please look down below, way down here. All right, so go run, run. And you notice on the bottom I get hello world. Now that wasn't much, but that's been your beginning. So that's how you set up an Eclipse project, and that's how you run an Eclipse project. So I'm going to come back, and I've done a series of payroll projects for most, not all, but most of the chapters. Equates pretty much to most of the chapters in the book. So I'm going to come back for my first that I'm going to call payroll. Since I've got these by chapter already, I'm going to call mine like payroll, payroll CH1 or something like that. Okay, so I'll be back with that first real lecture, so to speak, in just a moment.